Welcome to my show. It's a guest here. His name is Dan Schlund. Mr. Dan, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Timmy. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Dan. And also, thanks so much for the time and the opportunity, Mr. Dan. Firstly, you are an author. You are also a rocket man and a speaker. Can you please, Mr. Dan, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Dan?
So, for 10 years, I traveled the world flying a jetpack, which we call a Rocketbelt, for entertainment, big and small, around the world, including the Carnival Parade in Rio de Janeiro. And then after a crash in 2013 where I broke my neck, I decided, you know what, let me do something safer and be a paramedic. And then from there, I created a company called National Set Medics, and we provide medics to TV shows and movies nationwide and in some parts of the world as well.
Hmm. It's definitely 100% not easy when you had some injury. That is why some things sometimes happen in life. I think it gives also the opportunity for you to explore new things and also do a very, very tremendous thing that can also impact the world in a very, very positive way. And also, I would like to drive to your book, The Last Rocket Man, which is what you want to, which is a book which connects with a documentary, I believe. So can you please, Mr. Dan, discuss more about the book? And do you also plan to write more books in the coming future, Mr. Dan?
There will probably be more books. This book is more of a memoir of my life in general, how I grew up, getting into stunt work, then getting into the medical field, going back to stunt work, going back to the medical field. But I think I will write another book at some point where we talk about the experiences and the more detail on the particular flights and adventures that we've been on in 33 different countries and on 6 continents. It's been a crazy ride.
Completely agree. Completely agree. We do hope that more books and more great things that will come in the coming future from you, Mr. Dan. And also, I would like to drive to the point of you being from a stuntman to a rocket belt pilot. Your journey was from the perspective of you being from a stuntman to rocket belt pilot, which is truly extraordinary, Mr. Dan. What do you think first drew you to take on challenges that most people would consider impossible, Mr. Dan?
Well, you know what's funny is that flying a rocket belt or a jetpack, it's basically live entertainment. And all the stunt work that I did in my life, I did some movies, but most of the stunts that I did was live entertainment. I played Batman, Indiana Jones, and we and I ran into the people that own the rocket belts, and it was a perfect transition because you're performing in front of a crowd,
Yeah.
you're have to deal with a live setting where you have to take off at a specific second that they tell you to take off, and everything has to go, and you have to have showmanship, you have to have kind of an audience participation aspect. And I was already used to that. The only thing that was different was instead of setting myself on fire, I was flying in the sky with a jetpack.
That was the only thing that was very different, which is 100%. People would not believe it. How can someone use this thing to, fly over and, well, and right at the front of a lot of crowd, you actually performed and you did it perfectly well, which is very beautiful during that time before you had the injury that you had. And also, I would like to drive to the point of um the area whereby you choose the path that really, really drives to courage and risks because it also takes a lot of courage to be in a position to get a rocket bus pilot to also perform right at the front of a lot of people. So how do you think listeners can also learn to balance ambition with safety and self-preservation in their own life, Mr. Dan?
You know what's interesting is that in training, you start on the cable and you fly on a cable and you lose control all the time, and the cable catches you and you're lowered to ground by safely. But then on my third free flight, I crashed and I burned my leg. I had third-degree burns all over the lower part of my leg. 185 inches of skin was burned off, and I came very, very close to dying in the hospital. And then when I got out, I had to decide whether I wanted to fly it again or just walk away and do something else. And I thought to myself, one, and this goes for everybody, I was well trained. Are you well trained? Two, was this a problem with the machine or whatever stuff that you're working with? Was that an issue? No, it wasn't a problem with the machine. In short, I just made a mistake. I had a good crew. I had, well, good training. So even if something bad happens in your life, it's not necessarily a sign that you have to quit. It's just, okay, you adjust to it, and the courage comes in to deciding to strap that thing back on and at least go one more time. You don't want your last experience to be a failure. If you can help it, you try to do that last experience so that way you end on a high note.
And I really love what you said earlier, Mr. Dan. Preparation, and that's what really matters at the beginning when someone wants to have courage and also have the sense of taking a very big risk. When someone has this sense of preparation and someone actually knows the right and left things he or she needs to do at the right moment, I think it will be in a bigger position whereby the person would have that courage to say, I think I can do this perfectly, and also even probably do it better. And as you said earlier, when you had injury, pain and self-doubt, which were part of your journey, which is something that you actually passed through during this decision you had to make for your life. So, from the experience you've had from this perspective, what do you think is the advice you would give to the listeners who are actually chasing the big dreams but constantly battling fear or uncertainty, Mr. Dan?
Well, I would say, really focus on your training. I mean, even a surgeon, there's that one time where you got that first cut into somebody's skin. A surgeon's got to do that. And just you rely on your training, you never panic, and you push through. Now, it might be emotional, push that down deep inside until later and then let it out, but never panic.
And that is one of the biggest thing, Mr. Dan, panicking. Because panicking brings
Yeah.
in fear. It brings in
Yeah.
the sense of, when someone starts to panic, then problem starts to come in. But giving that sense of constant training, I've just said, giving the sense of constant training, continue to just train yourself and continue to become more better. Make sure that you becoming more better every single day you are trying to do something like that. And when the time comes, the confidence starts to come in. And when we start to begin to build that sense of confidence, we can be in a position whereby, as you have done with the rocket belts, we can become so courageous and focused. And even despite the pain we face, despite the injury that we might even have by the way, it tends to make us more better and also learn and also be ahead of a lot of people who are also building something like that. And also, I would like to also discuss more about you as being a part of a real legacy because it is very rare, very very rare for you to see someone who is a rocket-based pilot in the world. Very rare. Even in my country, I don't think there'll be any. So it's very rare. And what do you think drives someone to pursue something so unique? And what do you think can reach or it can teach us about purpose, Mr. Dan?
Well, I tell you what, more people have walked on the moon than professionally flew the rocket belts.
Mm.
So it's a very small circle. And everything comes down to two success equals two things, risk and opportunity. And in this case, I had the opportunity. Was I able to take the risk? Now, there's a lot of people that would like to fly a rocket belt or be an astronaut or pursue whatever job that they want, but they might not have the opportunity. They're willing to take the risk, but they don't have the opportunity. And sometimes you have to create your own opportunity, whether that be going to school, getting the proper training, meeting the right people, having the right introductions. And when you have that opportunity, that's when you have to take the risk. Now, sometimes you'll fail, sometimes you will succeed, but without risk and without opportunity, there is no success.
And that is true. Sometimes we have to make some tough decisions, and we have to look for opportunities. No matter the opportunities we find by the way, we have to try our best to strike. As you said, some people might be they have the inspiration to become astronauts or other things that are really, really rare on Earth. But it goes back to the sense of making mistake, learning from those mistakes, and building back from there, and continue to stay more courageous, and continue to stay this sense of living the sense of uniqueness for us to become more stronger. So that by the time we start to build this thing, by the time we start to come out and say, I am doing this thing, I think we'll be in a better position to not have any fear or any sense of panic that will really help, drive us down, or also even let us be in a position that will not be encouraging as well. Also, your risks weren't just personal. You were also setting the stage for the next generation of pioneers, because most of the time kids, teenagers look up to the people who are up there. So when they see people who are doing great things up there, they say, this is an inspiration to me. This person really inspired me to become this person. So how do you think listeners can also think about legacy in their own work and passion, Mr. Dan?
Well, I have a unique field where, okay, I flew the rocket belt, but everybody's passion, everybody's heart is in something else,
Yeah.
and it's persistence. And you have to have persistence, you have to have that drive within you, and you pursue it, but always have a plan B. If you want to become a doctor and you're busting your butt, you're going through medical school, but you're not getting the grades, have a plan B and decide. It's like an actor who goes and he's trying to make it big for 3 to 5 years. At a certain point, you have to move on to something else because you have to take care of yourself. So, to at a certain point, you have to decide when to switch gears and when not to. And when I pray, I always pray for wisdom to know when is enough and when to continue, when to push forward, and when to pull back.
And you and I will agree it is very, very, very tough to take some certain type of decision. But that is the beauty. Plan B is something that we all might say, if we have a plan B, we will not focus on the plan A again. No, the plan B is just like an alternative. Because most of the time, what we want to get, we might not get there. And that is just how life is being programmed. That is how life is. It is not every single person who got into the school or who got into an institution or who are doing something that actually came out successful. There are always few. Even those that actually came out to even become the greatest it is very, very few. Out of the great and great great people that we have on it, we only know about the few ones, and that is how the world we find ourselves in. So when we realize that something is real too hard, or we are not really getting what we want in this kind of place, we can check on other places. We can explore more new places that will help us to stay more persistent, and also make us to be in a position whereby we have the sense of hope. Not that we are killing ourselves with a kind of path that we're choosing in our life. It will be a source of healing and a source of growth for us. And we might not even imagine how that other places that we have actually drive to or we have decided to go will really help us, and also even make us emerge the better, and also even make us be in a position whereby we can actually live the sense of humanity and also love, because pain usually gives the sense of humanity sometimes. Also, I would like to drive to the point of your story, which really blends to the sense of science, spirit, and sheer determination. What do you think is the mindset that helped you, which the listeners will really help them, that really helped you believing in what other thought was impossible, Mr. Dan?
Well, when I was younger, when I was younger, my I was invincible. I was setting on myself on fire. I was falling off 30-foot buildings and fighting and doing all this stuff, riding motorcycles. I was invincible. So I was like, yeah, I can take that on. And it was just kind of an attitude of, I'm going to seize this. I'm not the kind of I'm the kind of person that jumps in with both feet first and then learns how to swim. That's just my um, personal way of doing things. Is that okay? I've got a little bit of experience. Let me dive into it, and then let me tackle it from there
Mm.
and see how it goes, and then decide from there if this is something for me or something not, and or maybe it's something for later. Just because you walk away from something now doesn't mean that the opportunity won't come up later when you're more prepared. So it's a thing of taking risks.
Yeah.
Now, fear is good. Fear keeps you safe,
Mm.
but fear unchecked will keep you in bed all day and you'll be afraid to go outside of the house. We all drive cars. Well, there's a lot of death in car crashes, but if you have your equipment maintained properly so you don't break down in a bad area or in the middle of the highway, so you check your equipment. And most of us have a great experience driving. So when people are afraid to do something, you have to balance that fear to, okay, what is the likelihood that I'm actually going to get hurt?
Mm.
When I first started the Rocket Belt, I didn't think I'd get hurt at all. I thought I'd be just fine. And because I've never been hurt doing stunt work, well, the Rocket Belt bit me. It bit me 3 times and almost killed me 3 times. But I knew I had the training, and if I just adjusted this and adjusted that, then I could be a safer pilot and a more experienced pilot. So it doesn't matter what field you're in, you have to take risks. You have to take that first step and jump in with both feet. Just enjoy it.
Mm. Absolutely see it's all, it goes back to precaution. It goes back to we being more prepared no matter the circumstances we find ourselves, because preparation is the key. No matter what we want to do, no matter the decisions we want to take, if we want to have the higher chance that we won't get hurt, preparation is always the key. And that is why I love what you said. Having a car, there are a lot of accidents that happen every single day. We have to agree with that. And also, with that in place, if we can prepare that I am going somewhere and there are things I need to prepare right at the front of me. I need to wear my seat belt. I need to do this. I need to do that. That really
Right.
prevents us. Preparation is always the key. So no matter what we want to do, there's nothing that is impossible to do. We can do tremendous, beautiful things, but we always try our best to do try check on the worst case scenario. How can we be better prepared to really solve the issue as fast as possible? That is the key to every single step we want to take on it. And if we can continue to live our life that way, I think it will really help us, because we will not fall into some kind of hole or pit most of the time. We'll be in a position whereby we'll be more safer. When we are handling some kind of situation in life, we try our best to look at the best case scenario, preserve ourselves, and also look for alternative that we know we can do immediately to not fall into that kind of pit. Awareness and also sensitivity really plays a very huge role in this perspective. So I 100%, from the perspective you've lived, because you said it's from the young age, you were this kind of superstar, everything, as a person who really have this kind of inspiration when you were very young. So I think those kind of things actually also was one of the things that actually inspired Mr. Dan you to be that kind of person that can really have this little fear towards things and really explore things that people will never imagine. And I would also like to dive to one message from your journey, Mr. Dan, and also your book, um, The Last Rocketman. If there is any one lesson or one thing you think or powerful thing you think you can take from your book you would like to tell the listeners, what do you think it would be? And also, from what do you think you can take away from one message from your journey from the ground to the sky, And what would you want it to be about courage, persistence, and the pursuit of dreams, Mr. Dan?
I would say you want to stay positive. Stay positive. No matter what happens, there's a reason why it happens. But the most important thing is when you're at the end of your life and you can't do any more of the adventures and you can't travel and you can barely walk, you don't want to look back on your life and say, what if? What ifs are a very lonely words because what if I asked this girl out, but I didn't because I was afraid? What if this? What if that? Because the thing is that if you make an attempt and you fail, at least you tried. You tried and you saw it and you experienced it and you said, okay, well, this didn't work out. So you try again. But that will pass, that experience will pass, and you'll say, okay, I tried and it didn't work out. No big deal. But to say, I never tried, you've got to try. You got to push it out there. Be positive. I personally I pray, but whether you're praying or meditating, take some time to kind of clear the fog from your mind and think to yourself, what's my next step? What do I want to do? Because you don't want to end your life with what if.
And to be honest with you, Mr. Dan, I want to honestly thank you for this beautiful insight. These are things that a lot of people have been trapped into because a lot of people feel very nervous or they feel very caged in to be in a position of what if, as in we are in a world whereby we're in a free world. We can take decisions that are really positive that can help us, and it might not, and that is fine on earth. No matter what we see on it, no matter how we see it, no matter how we want to take a decision or we want to, say anything to anyone, at least we have tried our best to be in a position whereby we let it out, whether it's a communication or anything that it connects to. So far, the thing is positive enough. We tried our best. We've done all we know we can do, whether it is building a career or doing every single thing that we know we can do to build ourselves and become more better. We put every single effort so that when the time comes, we will know that actually I tried. And that is the beauty. I tried to do this, I tried to do that, I tried, but it was not just something that comes my way. And that is how it is. We learn, we grow, we accept, and we try again. There are still hundreds of opportunities out there. They are just waiting. We haven't just found them. And when we find them, we catch up and we pick them again and we try again. No matter how it is, we should just continue to keep trying, no matter how
And you have
difficult it is. Okay.
and you have a lot of wisdom in you. And everything that you're saying, you have a lot of wisdom inside you. And that's probably from talking to so many people and everything. And just the fact that you're out there sharing other people's stories, sharing your own story. You're doing a positive service for the world. And I thank you so much for letting me be a part of this because, you know, people need encouragement in a negative world.
Yeah.
Be positive, enjoy, be happy, don't have what ifs.
And I also thank you for the time and the opportunity you've actually given to me today because it shows the sense of love and it also shows that sense of humility to actually have the conversation that really impact several people's life out there. So also there's a question I normally ask during the end of the show, Mr. Dan.
Okay.
From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything we would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Dan, what do you think that thing would be, Mr. Dan?
Ironically, I'm going to change gears on you. I'm going to say save your money and then purchase something. Now maybe a car, maybe a house, you have to take a loan, but don't get tied up in credit card debts because when you have extra money, that gives you the ability to give money to causes and people that might be in need.
Yeah,
And there's nothing greater than giving something to someone else. It's great to get accolades, it's great to get awards, it's great to get recognition, but the greatest joy in life is to help other people get what they want. And if you help other people get what they want, you will get what you want.
And I totally agree. And that is the beauty, showing the sense of community and also the sense of humility is very important, and that is why we shouldn't stay in the sense of credits. When we have a lot of things on ground, it won't really help us to give the sense of humanity and love that we have right at the front of people. And that is why we have to leave the sense of earning. When we earn, we know how to show the sense of humanity, give to people who we think they are in need, and also try our best to take care of ourselves as well. It is very beautiful because whether I like it or not, this world is very simple. It just takes the little technique that we need to use to understand it. When we understand the little technique about how this world is, we won't find this really much of a difficult for us. And one of the sense is just to continue to live the sense of humanity, love, kindness, and giving to people, showing the sense of love and doing it in the right way. And also, Mr. Dan, I want to use the time to thank you for the time and the opportunity on having this very profound discussion. You add something that is unimaginable, something people are going to say, I can't. Even I myself, as business, I will really doubt it. If they actually tell me to go with a rocket, I will really, really be scared. Like, what do you want? So I really
It's
want you
one
to.
it's one it's one heck of an adventure. It's unusual. Everybody has adventures, but mine happens to be in a rocket belt,
Yeah,
so it made for a good story and a good documentary. So it's just it's just a positive story
yeah,
about perseverance. And I'm not special. There's many people out there. I just have a unique story. That's it.
exactly. There are still people out there that can actually do and also perform well. And that shows the sense of differences we have around us. What another person is good at, we have to respect and acknowledge it because ours is different. And that is how the world can be able to move forward. I also want to thank you
Yeah.
for the time and the opportunity. Thank you so much, Mr. Dan.
Thank you, Timo.
All right, Mr. Dan. Have a wonderful day, Mr. Dan. Bye bye.
Bye.